3, 2, 1.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is The Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. And, oh my god, I have 2 new people talking about a really shitty movie. God, if only... But hey, we'll be reviewing some good stuff here in a bit. So this is the first time for our Halloween series, which... While I love Halloween, I do not think I am uniquely qualified to talk about all Halloween movies. So I have some help. And so I'm going to have you introduce yourselves. So this is...
Hello, I'm Crisi.
And...
Imane.
So I know you two love Halloween. Like, it's both your favorite holidays, right?
Yes. It's a lifestyle.
Yes.
So,
it's life is all the time.
So I'm actually really curious because growing up in church, you know, it was like Halloween's bad and demons and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't until I was like 16, 17 and realized, oh, Halloween's great. Why doesn't everyone, you know, celebrate this? Because church would never lie to you. But but I'm really curious because, Crissy, I know for you especially, you love Halloween. For as long as I've known you,
yes.
You just, like as soon as October hits, you're all about it.
It is my life. It is the 31 days of Halloween in
So,
October.
So, like, has that been, like, a thing since you were, like, a kid, or...?
Pretty much, yeah. My family was not religious growing up, so we never went to church. And one of the very first Christmas presents that I remember getting from my mom was a skull, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was, like, a little plush one, so it wasn't, like, you know, super intense, but... I think she's always let me embrace my Halloween,
That's fair.
My spooky side.
What was your first Halloween costume that you can remember?
My first one that I can remember, I mean, I was a little tame as a child, but it was either Cinderella or Snow White.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and my mom used to make all my costumes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, snap, okay.
Yeah.
So the costume I got last year, that's the most Halloween I've ever gotten with it. I won't talk about how much that Shazam costume cost. But after I got tailored and everything, I remember going, man, I went all out for Halloween. I'm proud of myself.
You should be.
You know, fuck it, $300 after the costume and tailoring. And I remember like talking to Alea about it. She was like, "Really, you spent $300?" I'm like, "Yep." And I've never felt more cool.
Like a badge of honor because it is.
So actually, when we were talking about when we reviewed Shazam, I think I shared the story. If I didn't, I apologize. But I remember I wore it because they did a Fandango event. So they showed it like a week, maybe 2 weeks early. I remember this kid pulled on my cape and he was like, "Shazam, can I get a picture of you?" And I was like, oh. And I remember that moment, I'm like, worth every penny. This penny. So I took like pictures like 10 kids and like and their parents like, "Thanks so much for dressing up." And I was just like, oh, it's like you showed it on the future. But yeah, Halloween's great though. And now, admittedly, the older you get, it seems to get more slutty. It seems like we're here in Reno, and the zombie crawl here is just it's like slut central. I mean, even as a dude, I'm like, damn, guy, like, okay, like how are you walking around in that? And it's 40.
Did you see that post? I think it was on Facebook where they made a slutty Mr. Rogers costume.
Yes,
I did see that.
Just thinking about that. I was like, I'm not going to mention it because it's blasphemous.
Because it's just like...
It's Mr. Rogers.
I was like, well, why would you even put those 2 words, like Mr. Rogers? I consider it one word. And sexy. It's like those don't...
Well, that's his name. It's like, that's his...
See, that's why I was like, no, it's one word.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. So Imane, you're like, so your first Halloween. Yeah, talk to me about Halloween. Like for you, like, has it always been a thing? Or?
Halloween has trick or treating wise and family wise always a big thing. Both of my parents not religious, but my mom is not a fan of Halloween. My dad's kind of indifferent. He's like, fine, great, whatever. But ultimately, they definitely were like, no, if you guys want to wear costumes, we will go buy you costumes. We'll do the whole thing, and they would take us trick or treating, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
besides the typical, like, first baby costume pumpkin, like, that was definitely mine. But the last costume that I remember, I was Queen Amidala from Star Wars.
Oh, that's a great one.
Oh yeah, my mom did my whole face like her. Not the actual hair, but it was like, instead of like a plastic mask, it was like plastic hair. So just framed my face.
Perfect.
And then the dress was like a felt costume that you got at like Party City. But out of all my childhood costumes, that one was definitely my favorite.
I dig it.
Yeah.
My very first costume I remember I was Donatello from Ninja Turtles. Yes. And there are pictures somewhere that hopefully have been burned.
I'm gonna dig them up.
That, you know, my Mama Hunter would even flinch. She'd be like, "Oh, you want these? Sure." Like, so I could never run for office because my mom would just be handing out all my embarrassing pictures. Just, so bad. But Halloween's a great time of year, and I'm very sad that we're starting off the series with such a shitty movie, which...
It's so bad, it's good, because you can't stop talking about it.
I just think it's so bad, it's bad.
And I'm really right there with Chris. So this is the part that blows my mind. This came out in 2016, and we always say on the podcast that Rotten Tomatoes is not gospel. Sometimes I adamantly disagree with what they say. And speaking of that, the Love Witch on Rotten Tomatoes is a 95% out of 109. Chrissy's head almost exploded when I said that.
I looked at this before I came on here, and I was like,
a 95% for the Love Witch, which I'll be honest, I don't even know where to start with the plot on this movie. It's so simple yet complicated because of all the shit they throw in here. Mm-hmm. It's really impressive that I'm just kind of at my wit's end to even start how to describe this.
You're welcome.
So this was an Imane suggestion. So we all picked a movie to kind of talk about, and we discussed and debated and said, all right, we'll review these. And I remember really sitting there thinking, oh, The Love Witch, it can't be that bad. I watched Hellboy earlier this year. What could possibly be worse than Hellboy? This came out in 2016, so it can't qualify for my worst of list this year, but God help me if it did. This would probably be number 2. I still hate Hellboy more. Just to be clear, Hellboy is still worse than this, but it also reminds me of the fact that, you know, when I was 14-year-old me would have loved this. Because it's like boobs. Who doesn't love boobs? Yeah. But at what cost?
The cost is 80-year-old penises.
So, okay. So I'm kind of at that point where you probably just sort of lay in the background groan. So I'm kind of desensitized to that. So random sidebar. I remember the first time I got a gym membership and I walked in. I remember seeing this 6-year-old dude on the bench, leg up, and just everything out there. And I remember going, cool, I never want to go to the locker room ever again. Because I just was not prepared for,
To be fair, that happens in women's locker rooms at the gym as well.
I don't feel like I'm desensitized to it. It always takes me by surprise.
Yeah, because then you kind of look in shock. And then
never,
because then you look in shock, and then you look away because you want to make eye contact, but then you're like, I don't know where else to look.
Yeah,
that's all that's in my brain.
You have to keep looking at it.
I know.
This movie's 2 hours. It seriously felt like almost 3.
Oh yeah.
This was a grind to get through.
I think I checked at least 4 times to see how much longer I had with this movie, and each time it was like, you have an hour left, and I was like, how is that possible?
It's there's just not a very good character build-up. It's just her, and then bits and pieces of different characters, and then they're dead.
So I'm happy you brought that up. We checked around the hour mark, and I remember distinctly going, "Oh my fucking god, we still have an hour left of this! We're only halfway through. How is that possible?" And being not even sad, but genuinely dismayed. I was like, "Oh, this is a bummer. I still have more to get through." So Elaine is played by Samantha Robinson, who was just in fucking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She's not in there for a long time, but I remember I was sitting here looking, I was like, where do I know her from? And Leia was like, oh, she was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was like, oh shit, okay. And that just makes me hate this even more, that she was in a movie I enjoyed. and then she's in this. So this is like, I'm trying to think of how you describe this. If you took a really bad porn movie, but then you blended it with like, not like something like Valley the Doll, something like that. That's the best way I can kind of describe it. It's this weird mishmash of like a 70s porno that's trying to be more insightful than it is, and oh my god, does it come across pretentious as fuck by the end with how it's trying to be like, we love feminism, but it's like Leah Dunham wrote this because it's fucking oh my god, not pandering. That was the term I was thinking. Good god, I'm just this brain. My brain is hurting.
Broken your brain.
Yeah, like, see what you've done, but so I have friends they'll say that they're witches or at least pagan, and not being pagan or witch myself, black magic aside, didn't. But but watching this movie, I felt bad for all my friends who were like witches, and
it was a terrible representation of awful. If you're a feminist, if you're into the pagan culture, and that is like your diehard religion.
Yeah,
it was everything that possibly could have been wrong and like stereotype wise was in there.
Yeah.
Basically, this is to like paganism what 50 Shades of Grey is to like the BDSM community.
That's like, a really good comparison.
Like that's the best way I could put it. Because I was sitting there the whole time going, I know witches aren't like like the ones in Hocus Pocus where they're always plotting to kill children and whatever else. But
like which one's worse? Which stereotype is worse?
That's a really interesting, like the whole practicing, or like
like it's either you're a wicked witch of the West, plotting for evil, or you're ultra feminist, kill everybody, still whatever the love witch was, but it's like.
I mean, I think I'd ask you. I mean, you're kind of more into that than I am. Like, well, which one? Because I mean, we've talked. I mean, we talked about like Leah Dunham stuff and some feminist stuff. So I mean, for you, which one's worse?
Of the love witch and because it's basically she was like, I empowered myself, but basically how she empowered herself made her even weaker because she ended up just going crazy, which is what that final scene was. That's why there was no music playing. It was just showing you her descent into, this is my fantasy, he's still here and he still loves me. But as the audience, you're like, where's the music? And it's like, no, they're keying into something's missing and something's not right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chrissy, what about you?
I would say Love Witch is definitely worse. Not that, because even with Hocus Pocus, at least that's kind of, not based off of history.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes back to like the Salem witch trials and how that mindset kind of was back then. So at least that's like portraying, like a thought process way back when. But the Love Witch, I think, is just like every awful stereotype you could ever like have about, witches or paganism.
Or even with the small town too. They definitely over exaggerated with the whole old English, like, burn the witch. Like that one guy, and he did that aggressive growl.
There's a scene near the end where they have Elaine pinned down all these patrons of this bar, and they're literally chanting "Burn the witch, burn the witch," and they got that mob mentality so quick. Yeah. Even I was like, guys, come on now! Like 30 seconds, you're all like, we're united and we're ready to.
And where half of those people in the bar had no idea what was going on. They were like, oh yes.
Yeah,
like, be part of this now.
Like I'm trying to close out my tab, or sorry.
Wait, we're burning a witch over here.
Like, just do that later.
You need to come over here.
So okay, I'll be honest too. Elaine was like the one character I could kind of remember her name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everyone else just. I don't care. It was like every white person looked the same.
Yeah. Guy 1, guy 2, guy 3.
Yeah, it's kind of like how Disney used to do with like the princes. It's like, okay, like you change the color of the hair, boom, you prince, And so I'll say for Elaine, there were points where she came across charming at points. Crazy. Admittedly, still crazy, but you can see where her charisma, and of course she's got boobs, those always help. Where guys would just go like, "Oh, well, yeah, you this probably won't end well, but why not?" The first guy she meets is a college professor. That's Wayne, I want to say,
yes,
who's played by Jeffrey Vincent. I'm gonna say priest. And what was interesting about that relationship for the for the brief time the relationship is he's talking to another girl, and she hadn't even drugged him at that point.
She makes eyes.
Yeah, so that's something never like clear up. Like, do her eyes just do something, or is it just this like? Is it like her blue steel? Like she's able to like just look at a dude, and every guy's like, "Oh shit, I have to run over to her." Like,
I think. Well, I don't know. I think it was supposed to more be like that. I don't know, like that look that a woman can give you sometimes. I don't know. For me, it would usually happen in the bar at 3 a.m. when I was hammered and I would just be staring at a dude.
fair.
But I think, I don't know. For me, that's how I was looking at it. Like, oh, she's giving him the eye.
Yeah.
But I was just like, come on. But like, I would have loved for them to at least go like, she put some spell on herself whenever she looks at a dude. Like, there's just, but you know what I mean? Because she's doing this like at noon, and he's just like, oh, fuck it, you know. If he had a couple drinks in him, I would have gone, okay, fair enough.
It was midday the hookup, and you're just like, that's already not realistic.
Which, I mean, we're not saying don't hook up midday. If you pull it off, good for you. Like, but it is very much an eye roll of, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And if I'm a dude, which, well, I checked I am. I don't even know anymore. But like, but watching this though, I found it really funny because she says maybe 3 sentences to him, and he's just all about it. She's like, "Oh, you have a cabin?" He's like, "Yeah. Like, I like to go up there and read and just decompress." And she goes, "Oh, do you take women up there?" "Yeah, of course I take women up there." Which, you know what? Props on his honesty. Like, I'll give him credit on that. She just goes, "Oh, you like women?" He's like, "Yeah, I enjoy women." She's like, "Oh, do you want to enjoy one now?" It's like, oh, damn. And I think the thing that right there where he goes like, "Well, what do you mean?" I was like, dude, come on. Like really?
You know.
Like, you know.
You're a college professor.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, don't play coy. I mean, you know. So they go up to his cabin, and stuff goes down. Both of them. And she gave him, what was it? Just this mixture. It was like hallucinogenics, like vodka, and then I think it said like some berries or something.
Yeah.
And so
organic berries.
Oh, pardon me, organic berries. thank you, Chrissy. But he trips out in a way that, like, I've never smoked or done anything like stronger than weed. His trip is a reason why I'm terrified to try like acid or anything else, because he's freaking out like he's getting tortured. Like, he's screaming out her name and like, don't leave me. I'm sitting there going, it kind of reminded me, like, this movie reminded me like I was watching that one scene in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory where they're in the tunnel and Willy Wonka's just going nuts, and you're kind of like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah.
I feel like I was watching that for 2 hours.
In that moment, I knew the movie was not going to get better.
That's fair.
Because I was just like, I'm already uncomfortable with this scene because just the awful person in me was like, someone get him to stop. I was like, just have him stop. Like, I know this was not his fault, but it just... Put a pillow over his face, please.
I know. Well, and she just sleeps through it.
Right?
And she wakes up, like, so refreshed. Like, everything was beautiful and fine, and I got the best night's sleep ever.
So, I will say, as a guy, something that drove me nuts about this movie is every guy in here is stupid. Every single guy in this movie is so goddamn dumb. I was sitting there going, like, guys, could we not go up to the girl and just, like, grab her by the ass? Could we not just sexually, you know, assault Elaine every time a guy sees her? I know there's spells and shit, but like, fuck, give her a hug. But like, every guy's going straight to ass. I'm like, guys, come on. And the one guy who is smart is the black guy, go figure. And I can't even find his name on IMDb, but he gets so little screen time. He gets maybe 5 minutes. And one of the scenes he has, he just punches, not Wayne. Is it Richard? Or no, it's Griff. It's Griff. Griff is a police chief or captain. All these guys' names run together. I'm just gonna be honest with you, people. Like, just you don't need to ever watch this movie. But the black guy was the smartest dude in it. And he's really not showcased much, and it's really frustrating just as a guy because it's like, okay, can I have one person I can root for? Because you can't root for Elaine because she's crazy. Trish has this really weird thing she does where Elaine basically kills her husband that they've been married, 10 years, I believe they say? Which I will say, while I wasn't sad, it did at least kind of take me off guard just enough that I had a reaction to it. So I'll give the movie credit for that because he slits his wrist, which I was like, damn, that's like, eek. That's, which I just, oh god, even thinking about that just gives me the heebie-jeebies. But the way even Elaine seduces him, she like dances this really weird song that's not sexy at all. But Richard just can't help himself. And they don't even say if she drugged him. I mean, it's kind of implied that she did.
Yeah, because she gives him that big-ass wine glass.
Bless you.
Thank you. She give him this big ass wine glass out of like a different container. Mm-hmm. And guys, I know we're jumping around, but I'll be honest, this movie jumps around so much. We're very much being in the spirit of the film because I was sitting there trying to take notes watching this, and I just got to a point I can't even. Yeah. Like, there's no point in me taking notes because all of this is just running together. It's really like a fever dream. That's the best. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember I had a dream one time when I had a fever that I had a giant carrot chasing me throughout Reno and smashing things. It was fucking terrifying, but I had, like I've never been a big fan of carrots anyway. Now I'm even less of a fan of carrots. Cauliflower, broccoli, pretty much everything else besides carrots. But this is all this movie, like, there's random sex scenes thrown in. And I'll give the movie this. You do get full frontal for women and men. They don't discriminate like typical...
HBO.
Yeah, like typical, mainstream movies do. You see some... You see some dong and oh my god, like the 80-year-old dong. And you see it a lot. There's a scene where there's this commune basically going around in a circle and they're jumping up and down and you see like bouncing 80-year-old dick. I'm like, all right, make this stop, please. But I mean, and you see it multiple times. Like there are points where they show it and Alea and I were like, just dick right in your face. It's pretty funny though. I laughed. There's a scene and there's so much shit that happens here. I don't even know the start. There's a scene where Elaine and Griff, find this Renaissance fair in the middle of fucking nowhere. Which, if I went to Renaissance fair, if I was a constant Renaissance goer, whatever the term is, it paints such a bad picture of Renaissance fairs too.
I know, because it was just so cheesy in every way possible. But then I didn't even really understand how they got to that point.
They just were walking through the woods.
Yeah, and then they heard the music, and she's like, let's go see what it is.
Like, if I hear music in the woods, I'm walking the other way.
And it was creepy ass music.
I've seen too many scary movies where I'm I refuse to be another statistic. I will not die in this scenario.
It's like you going through that hallway in your house and you hear, like, someone saying to you. Like, you just wouldn't go towards that door. Like, you should know better. But they go to this little Renaissance fair, and they say, like, oh, we're gonna have a fake, like a fake wedding for you guys?
Yeah, oh yeah, and then they take them into the tents and undress them, and they're just like, oh, ha ha ha, take my clothes off.
Yeah, like,
and you're just like strangers.
Like, Griff, who they're pushing, like, really pushing this, like, very much, like, typical male, like, I'm straight, I'm not gay in any way, I'm all man. And he has these guys just ripping at his clothes, and he's giggling, like, ah! Like,
and it was such an awkward fake giggle that made it even more uncomfortable, and you're like, the scene needs to end.
It's that awkward first date fake laugh.
Yeah, and that's made it even weirder. It was like a first date. If somebody's trying to be like, oh, let's pretend to get married, I'd be like, I'm sorry.
Right?
We haven't even established whether or not I'm going to bring him home, let alone fake marry him. I don't want to envision this right now.
No, and the thing is, as a cop, you would think that at some point your sense would go, oh, this is really weird. Like, if you were on a first date with someone, they said, oh, let's fake getting married, you would rightfully run the other way and never talk to them again.
Yeah.
Like, it's really fucking... quick random sidebar. I remember I was dating a girl in high school, and she asked me, I think we were dating 2 weeks, and she was like, oh, why haven't you kissed me yet? Oh, are we waiting until we get married? And I remember 15-year-old me was like, oh shit, this isn't good. And so, yeah, that was one of those like, hey, we should just like not talk ever again.
Yeah.
And there's so many moments in this where Elaine is going nuts. And I know some of these guys were under the influence of magic, but like, wouldn't there be a little part of your brain that would go, this is at least peculiar at this? Like,
I mean, yeah, but her whole thing was that she wanted to be like the sex fantasy that every guy wanted. Like, that was her whole thing. Like, she wasn't going to withhold sex from them. Like, that's how she was going to, like, control them in a sense, but...
She had the ultimate power. But it was even more annoying because once she had that and then she was over it, she's like, I don't like this anymore.
yeah.
I'm going to kill you. Yeah. And I was like, okay, you are not a 12-year-old child. You do not just get a new toy, throw it against the wall, and be like, oh, it's not shiny anymore. I don't want it.
I mean,
that's not how it works.
That's how she was.
She totally was. Because she's like, I really don't like this anymore. I'm done.
If you guys heard a random clink there, that was me refilling my drink because we're still talking about this, and God help me. I will say, I will give Elaine props. Her style's on point. Like, as far as kind of being that pagan kind of witchy vibe. I mean, I think, like, with her clothes and kind of way she carries herself, she does nail aspects of it. I went, oh, okay. Which just makes me hate this more, because I went, if someone had gone through with a rewrite on this and, given a shit, this could have actually been... This could have been, like, kind of like a fun, like, parody of those 70s movies.
Yeah.
But it felt like they were trying to make one of those 70s movies. So I go, no, you get no credit for that whatsoever. Yeah. I mean, you do get some sex in here. I mean, it's basically softcore. But, I mean, there's no 80-year-old dudes boating, which, thank God. Right?
I probably would have turned it off at that point. Been like, there's a lot of lines that have been crossed, but this is the final line.
Yeah.
That's completely fair. But... I mean, yeah. I mean, some of the sex, I was like, oh, she looks hot. That's cool. But there's this scene late in the movie with Richard's wife. I won't say it's Trish, where she goes on. She starts trying on Elaine's clothes.
Yeah, that was weird.
And like her panties. I was like, why is this happening? And the movie doesn't really give you an explanation.
No.
Yeah.
She just randomly starts putting her shit on, and then it was. This is gonna sound weird, but I found it more disturbing that she put on the wig than she did putting on the underwear. I was like the underwear. I was like, that's weird, but all right, I guess. But then just the fact she put on the wig to look just like her, I was like, I'm like, we're getting the single white female territory. Actually, we've passed single white female territory, and she goes to stab her. Elaine goes to stab Trish, and she starts slapping her like, you slut, you whore. And the fact that she didn't honestly just kind of kill her right there, I went, all right. I mean, he was attacking her with a knife, and she just gets up and leaves.
Yeah.
Like,
basically.
Wouldn't you think that would be a reason to go, oh, you killed my husband, and you just try to kill me? I should probably, kill you right now.
But honestly, with how much evidence was just against Elaine from the beginning, like the whole jar thing.
Okay, so Chrissy, do you care to talk about this? Because that was something I was like, I feel like Chrissy's gonna watch this and go, what the fuck out loud.
Yeah.
Like I was actually picturing your reaction.
As soon as you get to that scene where it's the two legs, a golden stream into a jar, and you're just like, she's pissing in a jar.
Yeah.
And it's
right.
Yeah, very random. And then she takes out her used tampon.
Yeah.
And stuffs it in the jar, and she's like, isn't it ridiculous that like most men have never seen a used tampon?
Which I'm sorry, which I went bullshit. Like I was like, no, and look, I grew up with two sisters, but I was like, really, no, like most guys haven't seen used tampon. I'm like, fuck off, like.
That's where the whole feminism power kind of just didn't work. Right. Because it's like, don't.
Well, and it's like her whole reasoning behind that was so that, who was it? Was it Wayne? Was he the, Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne.
It was, because she goes to bury him, and the whole reason was so that she could have a piece of her with him forever.
Yeah.
It's like, just cut off a damn lock of hair. Like,
yeah.
And then,
give him a
like,
kiss jar.
when the police officers go and they're like, what is this? I was like, first of all, you're not wearing gloves.
Yeah, thank
Second
you
of all-
so much for pointing. Yes.
I was like, second of all, you could have gotten our fingerprints from that.
Yeah.
Case solved.
Yep.
Well,
Done.
and they brought that rando girl.
Right? I was just like...
Which, okay, so Leia would tell you, so I'm sitting there watching this, and they have this girl with them, and I'm like, wait, you can't bring...
Oh, yeah, she was the student of the teacher.
Yeah, like, you cannot bring a civilian to an active crime scene like that.
Well, and this supposed house in the woods was what they said, like, an hour away.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna bring this rando girl with you for an hour trek to this house in the woods for, like, they didn't even know for sure if anything was there.
Yeah, no, they
You're
go...
just gonna bring her.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they go like, oh, well, you should go ahead and wait by the car. I'm like, why the fuck are you bringing her
I know,
in the
I was
first
like...
place? You assholes.
You
Like,
didn't need a chaperone, you're fine.
Okay, so we get to the end of this movie, and they were actually, you girls were just getting here as I was finishing this up, and my jaw was just on the ground for where this ends up. So, Elaine is there with Griff, and they're laying in bed, and Crisi, I'm gonna let you finish it up. Because I think in my head it'll explode when you go like...
I know, well, and I don't, it's confusing. Like, I'm not even really sure because she goes to give him, again, what we're assuming is like a potion.
Yeah.
He knocks the drink out of her hand so it spills on the floor. And then she starts tripping and she starts seeing him as like a skull-faced man.
Yeah.
So basically, what that's signifying is that her magic's broken. It's done. Because he's staring at her like, no, I hate you. This isn't working. And she's freaking out, being like, I just lost my feminist power. And then that's why she kind of...
Nice.
But that's basically what happens when she does that awkward, like, touching her hair and face and is like, don't look at me. Like, don't look at me. And then this... Because I think in the beginning where she was it her tarot cards?
Yeah.
Like, basically, he was going to be her death. And then that's when he just... I don't know why he laid down in the bed.
Which didn't make any sense.
Which I was like, I would have left at that point, but as soon as he lays down, she's like, okay. And that's when she grabs a knife and starts stabbing him. She's like, you're not going to be the death of me.
Yeah.
I will kill you before that happens. And then her descent into madness and the silent medieval scene was just the confirmation of insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done talking about this. So we're just gonna give grades now. Like,
wait, what did you? Just lasting thoughts. It can only be like a sentence if you want it to be. What did you guys think of the ladies only tea room?
Stepford wife. That's all I kept thinking. Because the way everyone even talked and dressed, I went, "This is really creepy." It's like the weirdest.
Well, it's like, do you have to dress in like old Victorian garb to even get in?
I mean,
like,
I wouldn't be
there a
upset
dress
about
code?
it.
I thought I was watching Downton Abbey for a second. I was like, "What the fuck is
Like
this?"
Downton
Like,
Abbey, but pink.
Yeah,
of pink.
yeah. Like if Downton Abbey and Mean Girls.
I know,
like
but then Trish wasn't wearing anything that
She was the only one.
Oh yeah.
She was literally the only one who was not wearing 19th century garb.
This is true.
Yeah. God, so confusing. Like,
Honestly, I kind of loved it just because I was like, I want to dress foo-foo like that just to live out my fantasy.
I mean like here's what's weird. It's like the costumes are actually pretty well done, and I thought some of this like the directing is done well as far as like for that 70s like sort of throwback like B movie. Like I think that's what they're clearly going for, but the problem is the script just makes no goddamn sense. So I have to ding you tremendously when I'm sitting there watching you going, alright, some of the technical stuff is really good, but fuck, this is just a chore to get through.
Like, I don't even think you could have put like Brad Pitt in there to make it any better.
Yeah.
Because the script would have still been bad. I mean, the acting was terrible, but...
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's So, I will say for myself, as we were discussing off mic, the lowest ring of hell is a go fuck yourself. I'm shockingly not going to give a go fuck yourself, because I did actually appreciate some of the set designs. Samantha Robinson does have a little charisma to her. even though this movie goes off the track like an hour in, like eat fuck before an hour in, like it like probably 30 minutes in, it's just it's off the rails. But I'll never watch this again, like ever. But I did find a couple things that made me chuckle here and there, so I'm gonna give it the very rare grade that I give on here. I'm gonna give it an F+. I think that which I don't even know if that's technically a thing, but yeah. F+ for me. So, Crissy, go ahead.
It's so hard. Because I do want to give it the lowest rating. Just because I don't know. But I will go with, because yes, there were, like, the costumes were lovely.
Yep.
The Victorian house, that one is
Yeah.
I put house goals right here.
Yeah,
house
that
goals.
house was
Yeah,
definitely one where I was like, I want that.
Yeah.
I will strive to afford that one day.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can kind of look past the random cell phone here and there and the random, modern day car.
Yeah.
Is F- a grade? Can I give it an F-?
Might as well.
Oh, absolutely. You can totally give an F-.
Let's do an F-. Let's do that.
F-, fair enough. Imane.
This is my movie. I feel obligated to give it just a little bit of a higher rating.
Yeah, thanks for this, by the way.
Mine will probably be just a D-, mainly because I thought it was visually appealing with costume design. Just Samantha Robinson in general. I think she's gorgeous.
She was very pretty.
Victorian house, and then it just made me laugh from how terrible it was.
Fair.
And it's just that kind of trash movie that brings me pure joy.
Yeah, it was. Oof. I give you credit. You told me I was not prepared. I genuinely was
I
not.
gave everybody ample time to back out, and nobody wanted. Like, it's fine. I was like, nope. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
It's rare that a bad movie catches me off guard this much. Like, I really was like, wow, Imane got me on this one. I was not.
Yes.
Like, I was not expecting it to be this bad. So
that was the goal. That's why I was like, I have to at least suggest it.
I mean, so props, but oh God, like it's on Amazon Prime. I probably would have given it a go fuck yourself if I had to pay for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like if I had to rent this and spend $4, I'd be like, okay, but I didn't. So this is almost one of those movies that's so bad I almost want people to watch it.
No.
Thank you. That's exactly why I told you.
So this is my counter, Crissy.
I would never put that evil on anyone.
If you had a 24 pack and you had like 5 friends over to come watch it and roast it,
right?
That would be fun. You cannot watch this by yourself.
Well, to go into it with that mindset, okay, but not to legit have people go in there.
Oh no.
To watch it as like legitimate, I don't know, cinematic
gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I'm happy Aleo is here because we watched it together and we both got to go like, what the fuck are we watching out loud? Because if this was just me, it would have been like Donnie Darko. I just lost my mind. So I'm happy someone else is here with me. So if you're gonna watch this, watch it with someone, please, so you don't
be chaperoned.
Yeah, seriously, for fuck's sake though. But yeah, really bad. So anything else, guys? Anything you want to throw out there before we're good? No. Yeah, no final thoughts. All right, just want to make sure. But Amazon Prime. Watch it with at least 5 other people. I'd say at least 5 other people.
Yeah.
I think even one other person's not enough.
Yeah.
Because you can all like hug each other afterwards. Could not tell you the actor's name in this movie, by the way. Like, there's no one like of note. Shocker.
Absolutely not.
In this, because could you imagine if Brad Pitt was in this?
I mean, I would have probably given it a higher rating.
If he's the one that got changed into the white tights, then it might have been bumped up to a D.
Right, because I'm just like, I'm not upset about seeing Brad Pitt in some white tights, you know?
If it was Brad Pitt from Thelma and Louise, this would have been like at least a solid C.
Right? Thank you. That's probably what I would have gotten.
Yep.
Like, you can't raise it up more than that because really he wouldn't be able to carry that movie.
No.
But at the same time.
No. I mean, I think this says something about, like, because if I was 17, I was reviewing this, I'd be like, boobs, see, but like, but me at 32 is just like, God, boobs are not enough anymore. Like, you need to give me at least a somewhat watchable fucking film, and Yeah, Samantha Robinson's. I mean, like I said, if you're gonna sound so terrible, but if you are unable to get access to porn, this might work for you. like if your significant other like blocked on your computer, like, ah, damn it, like you needed something in the pinch, then sure, watch this.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be about the only function I would say to watch this if you watch it by yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So there you go. That should be on the poster. Actually, if you're in a bind for porn, watch this movie. but guys, have you seen The Love Witch? God help you if you have. But let us know what you thought in the comments below. You can go ahead and follow us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. You can follow yours truly on Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow my colleague. Oh God, as I always choke on my. Do not know what happened there. You can follow my colleagues. There we go. On Twitter at Nearmanthefirst and TheReelOneal. And go ahead and follow us on, here we go, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Podbean, and Stitcher Radio. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's all of them at The Real Pineapple. Guys, we'll have a review up this weekend for Gemini Man, which I am... can I get a good Will Smith movie, please? Can I just... It's been so long. Like, I mean, like Aladdin was okay, but I don't even really count that.
I still haven't seen it.
Have you not, really? So, I count it because I thought he was going to outright suck as the genie, and it wasn't, like, me walking out of the theater bad. But there's a point where he raps as the genie, and I was like, stop that right now. I was like, no, bad Will Smith. It was weird.
Yeah.
Just hearing the genie rap.
I feel uncomfortable with just you talking about it.
Oh, I actually, if I can find a clip on YouTube after show, it's not great. But we'll have a review up for that, and then we'll have a review up for Zombieland, which I haven't seen in a while. And
I'm actually pretty excited to watch that one.
Yeah, the new one comes out next week, I want to say.
I think so, yeah.
So we'll have a review up for that as well. Guys, thank you so much. Have a good night.